Welcome to Conscious Living Collective, transformative journey in consciousness with community of like-minded people. That is you. My name is Tomek. I'm a scientist, teacher, and transformation coach. In this live session, I intend to blend the latest in the scientific research, the deep wisdom of mindfulness, and the art of fulfilled living. As always, this is a warm invitation for you to have your first-hand direct experience and emerge on the other side with a renewed sense of purpose and well-being, or, as in this session, being healed. And we will talk about what healing is in this session. But before we jump in, I want to acknowledge all of you who joining Conscious Living Collective, in particular, my wonderful members of my Patreon program, but namely, just by icons I can see. Hello, Parvana. Hello, Diane. Hello, Caroline. Very good to see you here. And all of you who joining us on a regular basis. How good to see you here. Hello, Elizabeth from Rhode Island. Hello, Ellen from New York. Sandy, good to see you again. Meg, oh, hello. Hello, friends, says Meg. And indeed, the purpose of Conscious Living Collective is to establish a meaningful connection. And I know it is online. It is just by the means of me talking to the screen and seeing your icons. But I truly believe and know that the consciousness goes beyond the screen, and the collective transformative environment that we creating through these sessions is real, and it goes beyond time and space. And this is the first dimension of healing I want to introduce you to, particularly all of you who are joining for the first time. As I said in the comment section, we are supported by Peter Helen and his wonderful music, Today Planet Earth. I'm basically circulating and circling through his all wonderful library of music to give credit to Peter Helen, a Norwegian musician. He's also an Insight Timer. He's our own teacher and musician, so feel free to go to his profile and check his offerings. But I am always using most of the time his music in my sessions. So I can see, you cannot see that, but I can see there is a change in the dashboard. So Insight Timer, I think, listen to teachers who are running those live events, and I can see icons floating nicely on the bottom of my screen, which is how it used to be. So my eyes will be going to different parts of the screen during the time of the session. But as always, I am interested if you are here for the first time. So Regina already raised her hand. So welcome to all the first timers. As a kind of housekeeping, in the first part, I will talk about healing and we'll be sharing your comments and your opinions. I will ask some questions to see how are you, what is your take on healing. But at the end of the session, we will meditate. We will try put the healing into context of the meditative space and see what that first-hand experience is to each of you individually and what part of it is collective. I know already for a fact that some of you are those energy holders and space holders, that your presence simply enriches the environment in a very non-physical sense, I'd say, not a way that you can detect on the individual level. The only individual thing is the way you feel, but this is a result of a collective transformation. So hello, Mary. Good to see you here for the first time. I hope you will enjoy the session. So today I decided to pose a few points, if you will, that are a reflection of the past few sessions. If you didn't watch my previous sessions, they all are available on my YouTube channel if you want to reflect on them. But I simply want to collect them, the past few sessions, where we're talking a bit about the state of the world. And I think as a result of the state of the world, we are all in a deep need of healing. And that's why I have chosen the topic for today, healing, specifically healing from your individual and collective predicament that we are facing. Again, individually, your feelings are individual, but the state of the world is a very much a collective affair. So I want to bring that together and put in perspective what really healing is. I think it goes without saying that the way we understand healing from the perspective of the modern medicine is you feeling not well, mostly through the illness of the physical body. And then you go to a doctor or someone who knows your condition, and that person prescribes usually a medication, and you take that medication and you start feeling better. And that's the current understanding of modern medicine. And that's what most of us truly believe in, that it is an external factor that brings the healing into us. But knowing me and Conscious Living Collective, and because you are here on Inside Timer, you have at least a suspicion that the concept I introduced to you of the physical healing is just a one facet of the healing that we experience and we need these days. The healing goes beyond taking pills or undergoing procedures. There's more to it. And I want to pose, like I said, a few points so you can maybe share your perspective on it. And I would like to hear from you, by the way, if possible. So the first point I try to make is that healing begins with safety, not solutions. Healing begins with safety, not solutions. True healing doesn't start by fixing the story of your life. It starts by helping the body and mind feel safe enough to rest. So the key word here is rest. Grounded awareness of body, breath, and senses creates the internal conditions where healing can unfold naturally, even when the external world remains uncertain, which is very much the case now. So I want to ask you, and perhaps some of you can share, what is it right now in this very moment, if you introspectively look at your current circumstances, that makes you feel unsafe? Is there anything that you can think of that makes you in this moment feel unsafe, and as a result gets in the way of your healing? Hello, Rochelle. Good to see you here. Sandy, conflicting information. Anything specific on that front? By the way, I agree 100%. I dare even say there's such an abundance of information, it is very difficult to ascertain what is true and what is not. And in that very situation in the US, Elizabeth says, indeed, this is something that we discussed during our patron meeting recently, and our patron group consists of both members from the US that have a very first-hand perspective on the situation in the country, and also an European branch, so to speak, that is being affected, because we're all being affected by what is happening around the world, and particularly in the US. So thank you, Elizabeth. Diane, not being able to trust people and information. Very, very, thank you, Diane. So sense of separation and alienation. Very, very important. Thank you for bringing that up, Diane. Sandy, is it news or propaganda? This is a very good point for me as a scientist. There's a saying in science, do not believe anything. Only first-hand experience can validate something. If someone, I have this saying, not that I have to use it many times, but if someone, particularly stranger, comes to you, trust me. There's a red light for me. Okay, if someone wants you to trust him or her, there's a red light. So is it news or is it propaganda? What's the agenda behind either agency or individual? And legal and financial uncertainties. 100%. For me personally, I always consider myself a poor teacher. And I kind of came to terms with my state of finances. My plan, I already decided that I skipped the part of being a millionaire. And in this lifetime, I've chose to be renting for the rest of my life. I'm not planning to acquire property or get a loan from a bank. But this is my personal choice. I know for a fact amongst my friends, this is something that consumes a lot of headspace. And again, creates a resistance that very often it's the reason why your healing cannot occur. Elizabeth, COVID back. Interesting. I'm curious about that. I think we're going through the period of influenza right now. So, yeah. And then Caroline, I think healing has to begin from within ourselves and collective, such as this feels it's a very safe place. When the world around us seems mad, we have a safe haven to return to here on CLC. That is indeed my intention, Caroline. Thank you for putting it so nicely. And very much on that note. So thank you for sharing your comments. I will come back to it. Healing begins with safety, not solutions. And I think this is the first invitation to us as members of Conscious Living Collective. How do you feel in this very moment? Do you think that sitting in front of your screen and connecting with all of us through the means of the internet makes you feel a little bit safer? Makes you feel that you belong a little bit more? Because this is my intention for these sessions, for you and for myself as well. To have the sense that even though the external circumstances are grim, the right here, right now, it is safe. I cannot promise it's going to be safe in the future, in an hour after you finish, in a month. May not have been safe in the past, but right here, right now, I invite you to consider your circumstances. If you feel safe enough, just by being here and connecting with all people that we all have the same concerns collectively. Because the science, by the way, I want to add the scientific part to it. The science is very clear about the process of healing. And even modern science acknowledges that. When you are in the post-surgery, they always ask you to not stress out, rest. And what is it resting on a physiological level? On the physiological level, resting means that your nervous system is a state of balance. Right? Both the parasympathetic and sympathetic branches of the nervous system, they collaborating. They do not create friction or resistance. That's what the process of resting is. And the rest of it happens as a result of that intention of you being at rest. It continuously amazes me how your body, all these billions of cells collaborate together. And once in the state of homeostasis, everything is just all right. So for me personally, that safety, mental and physical, since I'm sitting in front of the screen, I feel pretty safe on the physical level. The only lack of safety I may experience is on the level of the mind. So I already eliminated the physical safety because it is there. And I believe that if you are able to sit in front of your device, being part of conscious being collective, you feel physically safe in this very moment, right? So that's the one box checked. And now mental safety. There's a concern about the future. You all put it out there that there are many concerns that on a mental level in this very moment can make you feel unsafe. And I acknowledge them. So it's not about finding the solution right now. It's about acknowledging what is at your disposal right now and allow the healing to happen. Remember, interesting enough, you are not the facilitator of healing. Healing is not in your power. Healing happens automatically when the state of awareness of safety is there. Your body starts healing itself automatically. And that brings me to the second point. Awareness as the antidote to fear and rumination. So all the points that you mentioned in the comment section are about the fear. And fear is the resistance to what there is as a reflection of the state of your mind. So your mind creates certain expectations of how the world's supposed to look like. Whether are right or wrong, that's a different story. It's about there's discrepancy between the state of your mind, how things supposed to look like according to your worldview, and how things look like in reality. And that resistance creates, we can define it as a fear. And we know that another quality of the mind is that of rumination. Our mind, if we only could, okay, there is a danger. Imagine that. There's a danger. And your mind says once, there is a danger. That's it. We all know that's not the case. We love saying, it's danger, it's danger, it's danger, it's danger. Not even that, but rumination is creating the entire story about it. So now the story contains, as I say in one of my meditations, there are characters and props and situations and projecting that into the future, bringing things from the past, and we creating like a play in our head that is designed to perpetuate the fear that is already there. So, in that note, fear, negative thinking, and self-judgment are not personal failures. Self-critic that we talk about. It's not about you. They are simply stress responses. All fear, negative thinking, self-judgment, they quickly appear when you are in stress, when the situation is stressful. And that usually happens mostly on the level of the mind, but also on the level of the body sometimes. So, in the spirit of meditation and what we do here, how we consider things from the mental perspective, when we learn to rest in awareness, rather than fight your thoughts. That's why in meditation you are being asked to acknowledge thoughts without getting that emotional attachment to them. When you learn to rest as awareness rather than fight thoughts, the patterns slowly soften on their own. When you put out the fire, the first important thing is never add more fuel to the fire. If you add more fuel to the fire, which is the rumination and considering the fear, the fire will continue. However, when you cut off the source of fuel, what is the source of fuel for most of the fires? How do firefighters fight the fire? Cut off the fuel, which is what? Oxygen. The easiest way to extinguish a fire that is that of a burning nature. There's also chemical fires, otherwise I don't want to go into it. You just throw a blanket on it. And the absence of fuel, which is oxygen, the fire goes away on its own. But if you keep adding the fuel to the fire, it's going to burn and burn and burn. So, and this is the point I'm trying to make. The healing that we talk about in today's session happens not by control, not by trying to say, oh, this thought is bad, this thought is good, I should think this way, I should go that way, the self-judgment, but by allowing experience to be met without resistance. See, such a principal quality of each meditation. The resistance is where, again, I want to use now the metaphor, resistance creates friction, and friction is the source of heat, eventually a fire. If you rub your hands hard enough, that's the friction, and you can feel the heat. Maybe I invite you right now to just rub your hands and feel that when you're rubbing your feet, at that touching point, when you rub them just for a moment, you feel the heat. And now imagine in your head, one thought rubbing against another continuously, minute after minute, hour after hour, and eventually becomes a background of your existence. That continuous friction creates a lot of, metaphorically, heat in your head, and as a result causes inflammation and disease and sickness. So our job today will be, rather than trying to put water on that heat, the other way of doing it, it's simply stop rubbing. Only leave the thoughts by itself. They cannot rub against one another, so to speak. You are the agent who brings the other hand, so to speak, and starts rubbing against it. And through that friction, being created heat, and heat, it's inflammation and fever and so on and so forth. You see, we can expand on this metaphor in so many different ways. Hey, Austin, good to see you. And yeah, thank you for acknowledging that. I think it's, I didn't think about it by myself. I think it just came to me right now. So whatever it's coming through me right now, it must have a point. And I actually surprised myself with this metaphor, because I think I certainly can resonate with that in my own life. Hello, Roseanne. So the second point, awareness as an antidote to fear and rumination. That's where we start. We do not try to control. We simply allow the experience to pass in front of our eyes. And that's why so many meditation techniques advise being the observer, not being the mindfulness. By definition is observing reality as is, without judgment. The judgment is the resistance, right? Judgment is that second hand that comes and starts rubbing, right? So in the absence of the judge, the experience itself, it just flows, has no resistance, right? Only when we adding the second agent, that's when it happens. So the third point I want to mention to you before we jump into the meditation part is self-compassion is nervous system medicine. So again, we're coming back to the physiological nature or the physiological facet of stress that goes against the healing. Self-compassion is nervous system medicine. So what happens, again, from the perspective of stress, is that your nervous system is out of balance. And when we recognize that all the fear, negative thinking, and self-judgment are not personal failures, we're taking away the hand, they simply are stress responses. You recognize the thought patterns that flow through your head as a part of the background, that it's always there and has nothing to do with you. Bringing to mind a political and geopolitical situation in the world right now. How many of you, and feel free to raise your hand, think that the geopolitical situation in the world is of your doing? How many of you are in the position of changing it, like going out or saying something or doing something and changing geopolitical situation of the world. And on the contrary, how many of you feel like a geopolitical situation is basically put against you as the, so to speak, second hand, and you rap on of it? Austin, the ego wants to say, I have to change it. There you go. And the important part of it is ego. It's the programming. It's the response of your conditioned mind that wants to say, yes, I do have to change it. And then there is meditative response is that will be the reaction of the mind. And the mindful response is, let me hold on my horses just for a second. What is the how am I contributing? Am I being part of the problem or part of the solution? What is happening? Through my stress and fear and arousal, am I contributing in any positive way, any meaningful way, any effective way to fixing the problem of the geopolitical situation or whatever happens in your neighborhood? And quite frankly, vast majority of the time, the answer will be no. Actually, maintaining your peace is by far the most rational and the most effective solution. There are situations, I know that something came to mind, so I'm going to share with you. When you have a difficult situation with your neighbor, that would be certainly a situation when you can take actions and come out and talk and discuss in a peaceful way. But when it comes to the political scenes, particularly the state of the news, they're being thrown at you, as Sandy mentioned, you have no way of ascertaining whether that's true or simply is being said because all the news agencies, they want the attention, and that's the all reasons they're doing it. They know they are not in, the mission is not to spread the truth. The mission is simply to grab your attention. And the second is just a it can be a bonus, but it's not an objective of any of the news media, not any social media. Okay. How are we on time? Now the fourth point, and I'm going to go through the last 2 points much quicker because I want to jump into meditation with you. In the meantime, if you have any comments or questions with respect to what we said, and particularly I invite comments that are very much reflection of your own personal situation. I don't want to make it too general. I am making things general simply because I speak to almost 100 of you right now. And I do not know your personal situations. But when I have, for instance, sessions one-on-one, then we consider your personal situation, and that becomes much more powerful. Okay? But here I tend to generalize, but I very much welcome your comments of the personal nature that reflect your personal situation. I'll be very happy to deconstruct them, so to speak, put them on a table and see if how we can help. So point 4, with respect to the healing. So we already established that healing begins with safety. Awareness is an antidote to fear rumination. Self-compassion is medicine for your nervous system. And now instability as a key of healing is a skill you can practice. We always look at others, and that's the nature of the mind, how the mind operates by comparison. We look at others and we assume, oh, they were born this way. They were born calm. They were born such and such. And then we look at us and very often pity or shame or the negative emotions appear, oh, they have better than me. And that's not true, because instability, we know, it's a skill that you can practice. Nobody is born with the instability. Nobody is born with conscious mindfulness. This is the important distinction between kids that are very mindful. They very much in the present moment, but they are also very unconscious of the fact. The more they become more conscious, the more the mind ruminates, feeds on the past, and projects in the future. So now, as adults, we have this incredible chance to practice instability. And as a result, to allow the healing to happen on a moment-to-moment basis. And how we practice that? We simply practice by paying attention, not even through formal meditation. You can do it in any given moment, even now. Centered presence is not something you have or don't have. It's a trainable capacity. Each time you return to body, breath, and immediate experience, you are strengthening your ability to meet life without being overwhelmed. Healing is the accumulation of these small returns. Recently, I've been working with a cancer patient that decided to bring mindfulness to his life to support the process of healing. And this instability that I'm talking about encapsulates the approach, the method, the tactic that he decided to embrace in order to support the process of healing. We have an entire medical system to support the healing. And once again, many of us have this idea that the medical system heals you. And very often we forget about that actually healing happens within your physical body. There's no such entity that it's outside, it's brought in, and the healing happens. Healing, it's particularly on the physical level, it's an affair of your physical body. You may support it or go against it, but regardless, it happens within you. And the instability, recognizing that moment to moment, the less relaxed you are, the less resistance you offer, the more chances for your own cells and body to heal itself, to come back to the balance, from which point healing it's a given. Even right now, I can recognize I can use an extra breath because I got too excited about the topic, about my own personal healing. So there you go. My body gave me feedback on what does it mean to bring more balance into my physical state. An extra breath. And now imagine you undergoing certain procedures and being stressed about it. You take a breath and bring awareness to what is happening and normalize the state. How much quicker you would recover from the current state. Okay? Less friction. Right? If you add friction, you add heat, you add inflammation. Take it away and see for yourself how quickly your body can return to its natural state, which is natural state of your body is the state of health. It's not the state of sickness. The natural state of us as we sit here is the state of health. So let's take away all the factors that contribute for your body to not be in a state of health. And the last point, how important for Conscious Living Collective, I want to bring up is healing happens faster in a resonance with others. Healing happens faster in resonance with others. It's not presence with others, but resonance with others. The concept of collective coherence, that you have chemistry with someone. What does it mean? That you, on a physical level, you are in the state of exchanging electromagnetic waves that are not in the state of friction. They not what's the way of saying it? If you have ways that would distinguish each other versus amplify each other, you're in a state of resonance. When you're with other like-minded people, you feel empowered by this, by the principle of the collective consciousness that united is being amplified, and so the healing is being amplified. That's what I'm trying to say here. Healing happens fast in resonance with others. So I always am so careful to create an environment in which we all feel included. And what that means on the level of resonance, that we are all agreeing in resonance. We are still individuals. We are still beautifully unique. We're not giving up our uniqueness or our individuality. We simply recognize that we are collectively right here in this very moment, all 100 of us from around the world, we are willing to be at peace and facilitate healing, because that's why we are here. So we are in resonance. What is the resonance? In agreement on that specific point. We might be not in agreement on the level of culture, on the level of wealth, on the level of where we want to live, what flavor of ice cream you like. We might be completely disagreement with that, and that's okay. What we are in agreement, i.e. resonance with, is that we all want to live healthy, happy life. And we in resonance on this one. So, in other words, to put it, regulation is contagious. Community, especially one grounded in awareness rather than fixing, helps dissolve isolation, shame, and the belief that something is wrong with us. Shared presence restores trust in ourselves and in life, which is essential for deep healing. It's okay to like pistachio ice cream. And also it's okay not to like them. We have all our preferences. That doesn't make us different. That makes us unique. Let's focus on the resonance that we all have. We all share 98% of the same genes. If you look at if I look at your genes and your genome, we all very much the same. There's tiny differences that we pay so much attention are tiny compared to the similarities you have. So let's be in resonance during the meditation that I'm about to guide for you. And that resonance will support your healing, your individual healing, and in turn, the healing of the collective. Thank you, Rochelle. Gabby, recently I've been feeling of discontent with my life. Feels like a routine with my job and the personal life I'm not enjoying. I'm trying to find a new schedule to bring time for myself and enjoy and bring joy back. Thank you so much, Gabby, for sharing that. What I'm hearing right here through your statement is something is not in resonance with. What is the two parts of the resonance? On one hand side, it's you, as I call it, your higher self. And then when I say higher self, is the aspect of self that goes beyond the egoic conditioned mind. It's beyond that. It's greater than that, knowing more of you. And what actions you are taking in daily life, particularly your job and the actions you take. The moment you align more, I'm not saying you can align them 100%. You do it through trial and error. The moment you align, you first of all connect with the source of the self, and then look at in things, the actions that you take, and you align the actions that you take with what is in the true self, the resonance being restored, right? The imbalance is being restored. So you already taking the right actions. Caroline, I have been dealing with 2 different cancer diagnoses for around 18 months. At first, I just wanted to withdraw and deal with everything on my own, but more recently have rekindled the support of meditation and like-minded friends, extremely valuable. Thank you for sharing that, Caroline. You know that I know your predicament. Caroline is a founding member of our Patreon program and has been with us for literally years, and I appreciate you so much. And there is a time in all our lives, without exception, that we have to withdraw and consider that. And I hope that we need that time simply to recognize what we are missing. We need that time. We need the juxtaposition of things that we are aligned with us, in resonance with us, and those who are, and those that are not. And that's the process of learning. That's the process of learning. We know we must consider things that don't work in order to find ways that do work. And in that, the self-judgment is that we are so familiar with, including me. That's why you find that self-judgment is never productive, because failure is very much helpful and needed juxtaposition of that offers us perspective of what is really needed. You need to go out of balance in order to go back to new balance that suits your life and is more in resonance with you, your growing, evolving self. Thank you for sharing that, Caroline. I think it's very courageous of you to share your perspective and in particular your struggle. That's why we're all here. And we all have that. I know for a fact that each of you who sits in front of the screen shared that predicament. The situation or conditions might be different, by the state of the mind that we try to heal ultimately is the same. The words fear, rumination, out of balance, something being, I don't know, the word out of whack. Why? I don't know why that came to my mind. English is not my first language. I don't think it's the best way of doing it, but being out of whack, correct me if I'm wrong. We need that in order to come back to ourselves and recognize continuously our true self, and then healing happens on its own. Healing is more mental than it's physical, I recognize. Yeah, and I can see Evie and Austin coming quickly to recognize and be with Caroline, and that's what we all here for. To, in one way or another, support each other. Okay. Let's bring all our thoughts, all the situations and predicaments that we are in, and sit with them without resistance, in the spirit of collective, conscious living collective, and see if the things that we discussed today will bring you some consolation, will be helpful. Again, do not trust or believe what I said. As a good scientist, put them to test. See for yourself if they work. They may only work partially, and you devise your own ways, better ways, tailored to your own needs and your own unique self that will work for yourself. And as always, we will be supported by Peter Helland. Thank you, Peter, for letting us meditate with you. Okay. Pavan, I thank you kindly for your wonderful donation. Thank you for supporting me in my work here. As most of you know, I simply don't know where this meditation is going to take us. I take a leap and allow other aspects of the self to guide this meditation. And that's why I will close my eyes and invite you all to do the same. Even switch the screen to meditation screen to acknowledge that we are in the second part of our session of Conscious Living Collective. Thank you so much, Caroline. Healing is always at our disposal. Every time you close your eyes with the intention of restoring the balance to your body and mind, you begin the process of healing. Healing is not an on-off switch. Healing is a conscious decision that you take one breath at a time. Every time you take your breath unconsciously, resisting what there is, you're moving away from the natural balance. And every time you breathe in consciously, you're coming back to the natural state of the self, which is a state of health and prosperity. Even though your mind and your conditioning may indicate that we are here to suffer, recognize that the suffering that you're experiencing, it's simply a counterpoint to offer you direction towards healing, towards being more yourself. If suffering is a state of being not fully yourself, the state of health and healing reflects more of who you really are. And we all do it here, one breath at a time. Bringing in vitality, fresh energy, exhaling stale, used up energy, restoring the balance one breath at a time, surrounded by this wonderful community of meditators, conscious beings that all wishing to be healthy, at peace, at ease. So let us, in this very moment, bring awareness to your breath and recognize that as long as you are aware of this basic function of your body, you are coming closer to restoring the natural ability of your body to heal itself, as it always does in the subconsciousness of your being. It's not about changing your situation, but simply about observing the reality as is without resistance, one breath at a time, moving closer and closer to the natural state of your being. And as always, I will be here by your side to hold the space, to facilitate the healing that is ultimately an internal affair, in the presence of all of you who meditate right now. And I will bring you back when the time is up. And now it is time to shift your awareness from the state of your inner self back to the physical senses that create the perception of the reality around you. infuse the quality of your being and take them to the field of your vision through your closed eyes. Sense what's in front of you, even though it consists of brighter and darker spots. Feel the quality of it. Similarly, infuse your hearing with your current state of being and experience the sound of music through your ears, the sound of my voice, everything that comes to you through your hearing. Briefly scan through your senses of smell and taste. And land on the sense of touch and feel how your physical body connects with the space around you, and if the quality of that connection is reflected in your state of being. Feel your feet on the floor, your hands in your lap. Enjoy this union of space around you and the boundaries of your physical body. And joyfully include gentle movement, starting with your toes, including gentle movement of your fingers, slow and gentle tilt of your head to the left. Recognize the muscles in your neck. Tilt your head to the right. Connect with the muscles on the other side of your neck. Bring your head to the center and expand your lungs with one deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And when ready, open your eyes and welcome back. Thank you so much for meditating with me. I tend to come from a very different place when I meditate with you. It feels always very special and very unique. Even when on the level of the mind, I can see that I'm using the same outro. I love to move back to the physicality of things through my physical senses because they define the connection and my experience of the reality around me. But as Maslow said, it allows me for the freshness of appreciation of this present moment. So it's not about doing something differently, but the intensity of those physical senses changes as a result of my state of being. And maybe that's what I wanted to share with you. But how do you feel? What is your experience in this meditation? What this meditation brought up for you? If you wish to share with 1 or 2 words or a sentence, that'll be wonderful. Lori, peace. Mary, calmer and connected. For Mimi, it is joy. Diane felt cozy like a warm hug. Warm hug is always a wonderful feeling, regardless of the circumstances. Gabi had a chance to let go. Austin, I am more than my thoughts, emotions, and identity. That's an experience, that's not just expression. Thank you, Austin, for sharing. Rochelle feels grounded and calm. Sandy, meditation allows a space for God to speak to me. That's a wonderful way. That's a wonderful first-hand experience. There you go. Caroline felt peaceful. Thank you, Caroline, for being here. Always good to see you. Thank you for holding the space for our community. You're definitely a space holder. And you hold the space for us. Thank you for being here. Tosca, thank you. Alan, concept of safety. Healing starts with safety, right? Healing begins with safety, not solutions. And racing thoughts flew away and felt centered and calm. Wonderful. Created a new, fresh relationship with your thoughts. You don't make your thoughts disappear. You created new, fresh, better, I dare say, relationship. Wonderful. Evie, it always feels more meaningful to meditate together. Warmth, love, and peace. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, healing happens faster in resonance with others. That was the fifth point of today's session. Be so relaxed and present. Presence. Every time you are in the present moment, you facilitate healing in your body as a natural state. I want to thank you for a wonderful, wonderful session today. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate your presence. I want to thank you for supporting my work with your donations and allowing me to be in the financial safety, so to speak, to as much as I can. I appreciate that part of Inside Timer that allows you to donate money and as such support my work and continuous work towards our collective well-being. Thank you so much. I want to invite you to next session, and the easiest way of doing it, we live in the times of technology, is to either you can send me a message. I have my website that you can find in my Inside Timer profile. You can simply go to my profile Inside Timer and click the follow button and the notification bell, so you can get notified when the next session of Conscious Living Collective is. But also you'll be notified in my upcoming meditations. I have a new one I just published recently. It's not being released yet, but you can hopefully you can find it under my profile very soon for you to facilitate the healing. I can tell you it's called it's a morning meditation for grounding, but you can find it on my profile when it's going to be published there. So, thank you so much for your presence, for meditating with me, for sharing your thoughts and comments and your predicament. And I look forward to hearing and being with you next time. And as always, I will leave you with wonderful Peter Helland and his music, Planet Earth, which includes all of us. Until next time.